folks. I know I'm starting to run a little behind on my weekly recap vids for Tommy Robinson, but I've got to keep them in order because, I mean, 6 months from now when someone wants to watch these and is like, what happened when Tommy Robinson was in jail? They can look back on these recap videos and see them. So here I am wearing my Pride shirt. So this past week things went pretty well. We had Jessica Swiatkowski. I always have a hard time pronouncing her name. We had her go to visit Tommy. Now there was a scare the first day when she tried to get in to visit him, and all the visits were canceled. So there was definitely a little bit of an alarm and concern when that happened. But fortunately she was able to get in the following morning and visit Tommy, and she did a report. It's up on rebel.com, the YouTube channel. And everything seems to be going pretty well. She said he's healthy, he's eating, and he's being treated well. And he's getting his mail now. So see, Ezra posting about him not getting his mail put the pressure on to make them release his mail. So like I said, we've got to keep on keeping everything out in the public eye and making sure things are done right. So I'm glad he's starting to get his mail. And she said that he's planning on, you know, visiting people when he gets out of jail and following up on things. The most ridiculous story she mentioned was that some lady, I think it was in a Catholic church, requested prayer for Tommy Robinson, and okay, they had the prayer, and then later, after they all went home, she was kicked out of the church. Now when you see things like this happen, you know there's insanity at work. There is extreme insanity at work. I mean, Tommy Robinson, he does nothing but raise awareness for bringing criminals to justice. And the church, sounds like that church is controlled by some liberal, which is no surprise. We know there's churches out there that are like controlled by the left. They are not Christian at all. The devil's making good use of them, and they're just controlled by the left. So it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Tommy Robinson is not a murderer or a war criminal. I mean, he's had a few scrapes with the law. Some were just and some were put-ups and frame-ups, for sure. But nothing as the ridiculousness as the left going after him. It's just insane. It just proves the left is insane. I mean seriously, when murderers get paroled, and some of them do, or accused murderers, are they shunned? Are they kicked out of churches? Are they hounded by the media? No. And Tommy is not even a criminal that much. So, leftists are ridiculous. So like I said, there are churches that are definitely controlled by the left that are part of the problem. Now, the last time I was answering comments, I noticed there were some, I think they were women in the UK, and they were sort of siding with the media, the mainstream media. And I'm like, well, look at the legalities of the case. And she was like, I don't want to look at the legalities of the case. Come on. These people, they want to be spoon-fed their news by the mainstream media and trust the mainstream media like they were their mother. Give me a break. But I think some of these people are afraid. They're afraid of finding out the truth. Because they're afraid if they find out the truth and find out Tommy Robinson's right, then that means they have to start fighting back, and they have to start facing the persecution, facing the ridicule, facing all the terrible things that Tommy's been facing. And they just don't have the courage for it, so they're really hoping that Tommy is wrong and the mainstream media is right, and hoping everything will go away and stay peaceful. But we all know that's not the case. But I definitely think there's some people who have their head in the sand that are just, like I said, believing everything the mainstream media says, and they don't want to know the truth, because then that would mean that they would have to take action and stand up against the establishment, and they're too scared. So they're trying to fight and hold on to the hope that the mainstream media is good and the government is perfect in every way. Anyhow, so we have those kind of people. And the main concern in Jessica's visit with Tommy was, she said that they're thinking of moving him. I don't believe he's moving prisons. She didn't say he was moving prisons. they're just going to take him to the court in Luton on September 3rd. That's what they're talking about. We don't know for sure if that'll happen, but that's a concern because of all the security issues there will be in transporting him to and from Luton for the other court case. So that is the thing they're watching, and the lawyers will be talking about that, and we'll see what happens there. But I don't believe they're moving prisons. They're just talking about taking him out on a trip in the day and coming back. But she didn't make that quite clear, but I believe that's what it is. So that's a concern. Oh, this week, the 24th, there's going to be the pop-up protests everywhere, you know, that Danny Tomo and Richard Inman have been promoting. There's going to be a bunch of protests in England, the UK, and for Tommy, and we'll see how that goes. And two other interesting things that have come up this week that I think are worth note that go along with Tommy's case somewhat. Well, first of all, I've heard good things. I've seen videos pop up saying that Boris Johnson is, you know, making the arrangements for officially leaving for the Brexit. So that is a good thing. So I believe if they get the Brexit, that's going to really knock the left back, you know, 50 to 100 years. The left is going to, if Brexit goes through, the left is going to be knocked flat on their back. And then the conservatives and the patriots will be very strong. It's a very strong position. And that's why the left has fought so hard against Brexit, because that is a power trip for them, and they want to hang on to their power. And if Brexit successfully goes through, then the left has had it. They have had it. And I don't think there's any question of whether there should be a Brexit, because, I mean, essentially the Brexit party coming out of nowhere and winning everything was essentially your second referendum. That's saying the people want their Brexit. So, that's that. And okay, the last thing I was going to say is that I saw a video Danny Tomo shared this week of Nigel Faraj saying that we need to talk about Christianity again in the schools, and we need to change, and we need to start getting back to the roots and values. And I said, wow, address the problems of Islamatization. I'm like, wow, that's coming out of Nigel Faraj? He's starting to talk like Tommy? And someone in the comments is like, oh, is that from a long time ago? No, I don't think so, because Nigel was sort of hesitant in the past to talk about, you know, Christianity and Islamatization and all these different things. So I'm sure Danny would not have shared it if it was 5 years old. So it must be recent. Anyhow, that being said, lots of times it takes a grassroots person like Tommy Robinson to come up and get on the loudspeaker and blare every place, you know, the problems in the society, the gangs, the criminals, the corruption, the crime, and for a while people will ignore him, and then they'll persecute him. Then they'll start to get some traction. The common people rally around him, like we've seen, and then eventually, finally, some of the politicians will start to slowly step onto the bandwagon, slowly, and they'll act like it's their idea. But it's just the winds of change. So, do you think Faraj is going to come out with the same kind of platform as Tommy and try to steal his thunder? I don't know. Well, you leave a comment below and we'll keep the conversation going. Like I said, for all the YouTube channels I have and all the jobs I have, I will take turns getting to the comments. Alrighty, so that's the developments in the UK, the Brexit, maybe Nigel Faraj coming around, and our concerns for Tommy. And so we're glad he's getting his mail. And so we're about halfway done. About 4 weeks to go, running around there. So let's keep up the momentum and keep spreading the word. Let freedom ring.